What's up, everybody? We are back again. I know it's been a while and the market's been crazy. Just couldn't stay away. So we got my brother Mac and I over here, Mark and Mac, and say what's up to everybody.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing, Styles? How's it going on over there?
Good, good. Well, we've been talking a lot about all things market, crypto, and finance, and we figured we're just gonna get on here and get to the bottom of some things. So, what is big on your mind in when you're looking at the market or you're looking at crypto? What's the big thing that you're looking
So,
at right now?
so recently, I've been really paying more attention to everything politics. This is a political year, voting. Everything's kind of mixed in. The market's pretty volatile this time of the year, trying to figure out who's going to be the potential president, and then comparing their policies to one another. So, really, just kind of deep diving into that. And at least from the market perspective, it's definitely choppy. It's definitely volatile. It's a big unknown. I think the biggest shift after the assassination of attempted assassination of Donald Trump, the stocks really went in on the what we call the Trump trade, and so there's certain industries that are doing well, and then certain industries are not so well, and so all has to do with his policies in the back when he first was president. And then you got the Harris once Biden dropped out and then Harris jumped in. Now it's like it's fluctuating. They don't really know what to do, so it's like it's super choppy. Normally you would know like, okay, well, Biden has these, and then like Trump has these policies, and even though Harris is a part of the Biden administration, she's trying to identify herself, uh, separate herself, I'm sorry, from Biden's policies and everything. So it's really she's just a really big unknown, and she really has said much. So yeah, just really looking into that and focusing on how to make some money in the market during this time. And it's
Yeah,
hard because you got at the same time.
Do
Good.
you believe that Trump's gonna like do all the things that he said he's gonna do?
What do you mean by that? What
Well,
did he
I mean,
say he's
okay, he
going to
was just
do?
at the Bitcoin conference and he made all these really big statements and said he's going to do all
Okay.
this stuff. Like, I mean, does he really have a track record for believing him? I don't know. My first thought is no. So, I mean, what do you think?
I think Trump's just trying to get some votes. I watched that. I believe we watched that together. And the one thing I got out of it, it was more of a pitch on in his campaign. It was more of like TV time, media time for him to kind of do his pitch. So he wasn't really focused, geared towards the Bitcoin crowd, so to speak. It didn't really elevate, at least with me, because like you don't really know what's in the Bitcoin community, like who is in the Bitcoin community, so to speak. There are some obviouses, but then there are some unknowns, and I feel like if when he was hitting on the things he was hitting on regarding the with Bitcoin and you know really pushing the whole pro Bitcoin and being the crypto capital of the world, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, he was hitting on all notes, but then he started going to the left and going to the right about his views and policies on other things that weren't related to crypto. Do I believe him? I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, but at this point, you kind of want to believe him. So I think it's very important to understand that, in my opinion, personally, crypto is going to be in our future regardless. But I just also think that it's a lot of hype right now. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen. So all this hype, just like all other hypes, the the weed hype, the AI hype, and now we got this hype of Bitcoin. Is it going to be real? Is it going to be sustainable? Or are they going to clamp down or not really take it serious? And Bitcoin went on the back burner in this administration.
So
So
I don't, let me just jump in real quick because you mentioned something and you're going down a little further away from it. So before you get too far away from it, you said something about Bitcoin. We don't know really what's in the Bitcoin pool of people, like where they stand and stuff. So this is from Thinking Crypto. So shout out to Thinking Crypto. And this is the political orientation based on Bitcoin ownership. And so it looks like a large percentage are neutral, but you see the very liberal versus very conservative. It looks to me like, yeah, it's 14% very liberal, 10% very conservative. I mean, more or less, it's 50-50. I mean, don't you agree? I don't know. I mean, I see this as basically 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at it, it's definitely more neutral. And yeah, if you look at those bars, like if you evened them out, they would pretty much look even on each side. So yeah, I agree with that. So it's
Do
really
you?
hard to say.
Well, okay, so just so I to me, I think that means that if Harris wants to so like okay, hold on. All right. There's like 53 million crypto holders in America, more crypto holders than dog owners and more people that will fit into the state of New York, including Manhattan. So like to give some perspective to people, it's a big number. And with this big number, you think and I was watching Coin Bureau talk about how are there a lot of crypto holders in swing states? Well, if the distribution is relatively even, then you would have to assume that the crypto vote could sway swing states. And then I was also thinking today actually like what new battleground is there? There's like what new topics? The Gaza like the Gaza and the Hamas and Israel stuff, that's a new ground. So like Harris can fight for it's like I guess what I'm saying is all these fighting grounds over these different topics and taking positions on different things. I feel like there's nothing new except for the the Hamas and Israel stuff and maybe the Ukraine, you could say the Ukraine stuff because that all came under Joe Biden. But like so you got war effort and then you have crypto. I mean, what other so if there's not really any other places to try to sway voters to your side because it's all been talked about, it would make sense that you would try to find groups of people that you could potentially move to your side that maybe wouldn't vote for you or not vote at all. And so like Trump, if Kamala Harris takes a stance against crypto, it could move people who might vote for her or not vote for Trump over to Donald Trump. And so if Kamala comes out in favor of like not favor but like even just saying like we're not gonna like I don't know something to say that we're not necessarily going to be as good as Donald Trump, but we're going to be like more open and fair, basically a positive message. Okay. A positive message from Kamala. Now, let's not talk about the level of positivity because I realize that it's a can of worms, but let's just say it's positive. Well, that could essentially neutralize the crypto vote where the crypto votes then don't really matter because they're going to vote along the party lines they would have voted anyway. Like if Donald Trump or RFK becomes president, I'm basically going to become a multimillionaire. How am I going to vote for anything else? You know what I mean? Like if I had the opportunity to become a multimillionaire, why would I vote any other direction unless I don't believe the person who's telling me that they're going to do this?
Yeah, I mean it's a big unknown. It really just depends on who exactly they're trying, who they're trying to sway in right now. Is crypto a really big community? Is it where it's like, I think they're more worried about like Minnesota right now. So how big is the crypto community? You said it's
In Minnesota.
equivalent to every person that has. Right, you can take that, right, for the United States, everyone has it all. And then specifically, how many people are actually in Minnesota that are so quote unquote crypto? And will that sway them 100%? Because some people could even say, well, crypto is going to be in our future regardless. They can only push it so far away as much as they can.
True.
And the fact that now you have institutions buying into it, mainly Bitcoin and Ethereum, like once it starts going on more and more institutions, I mean, there's no way of really, I mean, they're already saying it should be 3% of your portfolio, your investment portfolio. I mean, that's completely crazy. 5 years ago, they were like, "No, this is insane. This is just a Ponzi scheme or a scam XYZ." And now they're saying it should be about 3% of your portfolio investment portfolio.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
something that is evolving. So in my opinion, this is a lot to do with hype personally, where you know once he had it, I think it popped up to 70K real quick, hit 70K real quick. So a good I think $5,000. I think it was around 66, 65. I didn't pop. It popped. It gave a little pop, a little bump, and everything. But I see the equivalencies with when it comes to crypto and news, and the same thing with the stock market volatility, right? So it really right now we're in this hype phase. And now it's like people biting their nails. And now if Harris says something like she's positive, then it's gonna pop even more, probably good 5 to 10 more, like maybe 75. We'll get to 75, 78. But after that, I don't really see a lot of hype unless something significant happens, either with regulation or something globally that affects our currency. Like we've talked about this, but the yen, about Japan and defaulting on their currency getting super hyperinflation, which they're working on it with the BOJ and everything. I don't really personally see that happening just because how of a domino effect it could go. So at the end of the day, no, I don't really think it has really relevance to who's going to vote for it or not. I feel like no one's going to come out and say I'm anti-crypto and we're shutting crypto down. It's possible, but
Okay.
very
How about
unlikely at
this?
this point.
How about this? How about have you heard anybody, and I'm never gonna wear a white shirt again. Look how white I look, like a ghost. um
Well, it's beige, so you're good.
I've never okay. On another note, oh my gosh, I totally lost. Oh, shoot, what were you just saying?
Oh, we're just talking about their relevancy through the candidates, talking about crypto, hyping crypto
Oh,
up,
what?
being
How
everything.
come I haven't heard anybody say this? And tell me if you have. But from in my perspective of the world that I've seen, I haven't heard anybody bring up the fact that the government putting crypto in the treasury makes Michael Saylor and certain other individuals richer than anybody on a planet. So, like, think about it. So, like, first of all, if the US buys, the second they make a purchase of Bitcoin, Bitcoin's going to start going up. The next, every purchase they make, Bitcoin's going to be going up. And mathematically, there is potentially not even possible that you can even buy, there's all this, people I watch like Invest Answers. He's like, and Anthony Pompilano, they're like, this is not even mathematically possible for the US to be able to like buy the way they are because the price is going to go up so fast once it hits the US Treasury. Game theory comes in because like I cannot believe, like I refuse to believe that other people wouldn't buy it as immediately as soon as the US Treasury buys it or within a reasonable short period of time. So, within a short period of time of the US buying Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset, then you're basically saying all the crypto whales, I mean, think about how rich they would be. They would all be like Elon Musk rich. And so, like, do you really want to make that many people that rich? Or are you going to see, like, here's some crazy conspiracy theory stuff since we're just like going off the cuff here? Well, if the US puts Bitcoin in the treasury, are they going to come after certain companies like MicroStrategies or you know what I'm saying? You know where I'm going with this? Like the
Yeah,
Winklevoss
so
twins have owned
I've
1% of Bitcoin. They own
okay, so
whatever
this
that is.
is this is this is what I heard from what you're talking about. In Nashville on Saturday, former President Donald Trump stopped short of promising an established official U.S. Bitcoin strategic reserve currency. Now, what's being floated around is the Treasury would buy 1 million Bitcoin over a span of 6 years. I don't know how that would affect
Price?
um, the price. I know the obvious thing is it's going to go up, right?
I just can't.
You're buying
How
it
could it
over
not?
6,000. You're buying it over 6 years, about a million, which is a huge substantial amount in a sense that there's only 20 million
But you'll never get
of
to a million. The price of Bitcoin will be so high once you get to year 3 that you'll never be able to buy a million. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So the idea in itself is pretty sound. It's a lot better than minting $1 trillion coin like they've talked about. But it really is about, like, in order for our government to do that, I'm sure they're gonna somehow want some sort of control over it. You know what I mean? Over Bitcoin itself, and that obviously being decentralized is a problem and an issue. Um, but if they say they were to do it hypothetically, they were to go and they start buying for the next 5 years, they start buying crypto. Crypto will essentially keep going up, like you said, right? And the fact that a treasury is what usually happens when, I mean, how our government works, what usually happens, every country in this world is looking at us. Whenever the Fed speaks, everyone listens in the whole world, right? If BOJ or BOE or all that stuff, we don't, we listen, but we don't have to listen. Everyone's listening to us. So if we set the stage where we start buying crypto or Bitcoin, people are going to start doing it. And then I also feel like that would have a huge impact on Ethereum as well, because I feel like the third party countries or whatever third world countries, I'm sorry, they are, the less one, they would probably start trying to buy Ethereum because they can't afford the Bitcoin, you see, and then using that as a hedge for, um, because the biggest problem right now, personally, that I'm seeing that no one's really talking about, and they need to start talking about because I'm starting to hear whispers, is our debt. Our debt is getting crazy, and there's this whole theory of like we're never gonna let it, you know um crash, and we're never gonna fall on our loans, but we're just getting to the point where our GDP is less than, is on average, has been averaging what I think 3%. Our our deficit, and like you said, our spending, we're spending more on that than we are just on the interest of the treasury bonds, right?
yeah,
So
the
that right there is
interest on our debt is at or about to exceed defense spending. It's somewhere right. It's either going to happen this year or next year.
right. So if you look at that and you look at, say, you look at Trump or Harris, they're going to want to spend, I think it's on average like $3 trillion for the next year, 4 years, and recently it's been doubling and tripling. So it's like, it's getting to an unattainable amount where, I think we're at like 36 trillion dollars, and it's just to the point where we got to actually start paying it, not just paying off the interest for the bonds. So that really kind of boils down to that, in my opinion. At the end of the day, it's really important for us to understand how it would be used, and the utility in itself is having a gold reserve, a digital gold reserve. That could be the answer, especially you could use that money after it starts appreciating to start paying off our debt.
Well,
So,
you know what they could do? They could use tax revenue to buy Bitcoin, and
well, I heard an
that's how they could do it.
interesting from Kevin Larry. I think his name's Kevin Larry, the Shark Tank guy. He was talking about how if you use the royalties off of oil, there, the how we get off of oil, we could pay back our debt with just the royalties. I don't know what we currently do with the royalties, and I didn't go down that rabbit hole, but there are different ways to try pay off. But if you bring in crypto, then yeah, I mean, it kind of answers itself. It's going to go up. It's going to go exponentially. Now, are these what some of the analysts on the market on in the market think that that's why it's gaining momentum, because there's potential for the government to take it on to start buying it because of our debt? Maybe that's kind of the hidden secret that a lot of people are thinking that it could be, but you really never know, because like Trump says one thing and he's done other things, and Harris and the Biden administration, they're just anti everything. They're anti M&A. They're anti um, everything pretty much. They don't, Gary Gensler, the SEC. If you have someone in like that, if Harris continues, she has to she has to get rid of him. Now all Harris has to do to reinvent herself is no one really knows. So she could just say, "Yeah, that was Biden's administration, not mine." Boom, it explodes. Like she completely has a fresh fresh sheet where she can just pretty much say, I'm anti this, I'm pro this, I'm anti this, I'm pro that. So she has the potential to really take this on to another level because everyone knows what to expect with Trump because Trump was president already. So everyone knows what to expect. With her, it's it's really just no one knows.
Yeah, I think
More to come.
yeah, more to come for sure. Well, thank you everyone for taking the time to listen to this little banter. We'd love to hear what you think. Leave a comment below, and we will talk to you later.
Peace.